Well, ties between the U.S. and Venezuela have shifted dramatically, with Washington U-turning on years of punishing sanctions against the socialist government of Nicolas Maduro. Washington is easing sanctions on Venezuela's oil sector in return for guarantees that Maduro's government will allow election monitors to observe next year's presidential election and let some opposition candidates run. The change has led to accusations of diplomatic hypocrisy, prompting questions about what's really behind the U.S. policy shift. Nick Harper reports from Washington.
A new relationship built on a shaky platform of mutual interests. Much of Venezuela's oil production had been frozen by U.S. sanctions. Now moves to welcome in a country long held at arm's length. The thaw began last November when the US allowed American company Chevron to resume the production and export of Venezuelan oil after the Maduro government agreed to restart talks with the opposition. Some analysts believe other geopolitical forces were the real motivator behind Washington's change of heart.
It wasn't about democracy, in my opinion. It was about getting, about 100 to 150,000 extra barrels of oil per day from Venezuelan production and make sure that they come to the United States in a context that was characterized by a tight international oil market in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
This new agreement, easing US sanctions on Venezuela's oil sector, has prompted similar skepticism in Caracas.
¿Qué falta allí? Liberación de rehenes norteamericanos. ¿Qué falta allí? Comprométete con una defensa de derechos humanos. Comprométete a no seguir violando derechos humanos. Yo creo que el interés de la administración Biden con Venezuela está en alejarlo de Irán, principalmente, en segundo orden de Rusia. Yo creo que más allá de China.
China is Venezuela's main creditor, and the two countries have been growing closer. At a meeting in China in September, Presidents Nicolas Maduro and Xi Jinping promised to upgrade their relationship. Washington's change of policy is not seen as doing much to break the burgeoning bond.
China is so involved in Latin America and the Caribbean that to just address China's influence in Venezuela kind of misses the broader picture, because China's influence in Venezuela is actually, it's significant, but it's not as concerning as China's influence in other places that are more important to the United States as allies. China's influence in Brazil, China's influence in Argentina, China's influence in Peru and Chile.
Joining us in the gallery is the true and legitimate president of Venezuela, Juan Guaido.
Washington had been championing the former opposition leader, Juan Guaido. He was invited as a guest of honor to the 2020 State of the Union address to illustrate US recognition that Guaido was the country's true president. Which is why Republicans are now accusing Biden of forgetting the very opposition that Washington has backed for more than 5 years. The White House argues it's about persuading an authoritarian regime to hold free and fair elections. But the quid pro quo nature of the new relationship, oil for the US, money for Venezuela, has not been lost on many in both capital cities. Along with an understanding that at a time of shifting geopolitical pressure to counter Russia and China, this may be more about trying to push Venezuela away from its allies than pull the US closer to Caracas. Nick Harper, CNA, Washington.